on the county line. Fishing season is around the corner. See how the Pennsylvania Gaming Commission is trying to lure in some new fishermen.
Almost every little girl wanted a pony growing up. We found some fun-sized ones at a local farm.
The sharp-tongued and Emmy Award-winning mama from the 80s visited the Westminster community, and one of our reporters caught her for an interview that you won't want to miss.
And we'll try to get a strike as we take you out for this week's On the Road.
We're live.
We're local.
The County Line starts now. Good evening and welcome to the County Line. I'm Christina Rossetto.
And I'm Jeremiah Patterson. Plans continue for a harness racing track and slot machine casino in Lawrence County. Centaur Gaming is still looking for partners for the Valley View Downs Casino project in Mahoning Township. County Commissioner Dan Vogler says Centaur is still seeking approval from the State Gaming Board.
Once those background investigations would conclude, and if everything were to be in order, then the Gaming Control Board could vote to award Centaur the casino license. In fact, Centaur would become the second largest employer in Lawrence County.
Local fishers will take to the waters this weekend for the start of trout season in Pennsylvania. Fishers can drop their lines beginning at 8 a.m. on Saturday for the season, which will last through Labor Day. Licenses must be signed and visible on clothing. Trout anglers must have a trout salmon stamp in order to fish.
But with this year's trout season on the way, less anglers may be spotted on local streams. Hunting and fishing licenses are down in recent years due to decreased numbers of those learning to fish. Experts with the Fish and Boat Commission say they see more adult men fishing than teens and children. The Shannon Creek Fishing Shop in Belan is hosting free clinics in hopes that families will make their way back to the fishing hole.
A lot of adult males fish. I do see women fishing, and early in the season, early in the summer, I see parents with their kids. I would say probably a lot more younger boys than girls.
Everything out of here. Oh, okay. This is all moved.
We have private lessons. Okay. We have a youth school for children. We have a ladies' school. We do free clinics. Free clinics I please want everybody to attend because that's free. So we're going to lay these on the top.
Now from trout season to turkey season, the Pennsylvania State Gaming Board says the spring season for gobblers starts April 25th and runs through May 25th. The daily limit is 1 bearded bird and the season limit is 2 with a valid special wild turkey license. There is also a special hunting season for eligible juniors with required licenses beginning April 18th, though only 1 spring gobbler may be taken during this hunt.
It's classy, fun, and a pretty big deal. Par for the Cure is holding its annual concert at Newcastle High School's auditorium. Acclaimed pianist and Newcastle native Brian Pizzone will perform along with the Newcastle Regional Ballet. The concert will raise money for cancer research conducted by Dr. Slamman, who was born and raised in Newcastle, and has also conceived a breakthrough drug called Herceptin. The concert is next Friday at 7:30.
A volunteer from the Jamison Health System is silently making a difference in families' lives. June Floyd is a retired volunteer who helps at the Diabetes Center and Family Room. The County Line's Kayla Zoller introduces us to June and shows us how she's changing lives.
June Floyd is a retired Jamison Health System employee who volunteers her time on a regular basis. She has been involved with Jamison for many years, and her most recent work occurs at the Endocrine and Diabetes Center.
I've been volunteering with the Jamison Endocrinology Clinic in the Family Room since January of 2008.
June says her favorite kind of work to do is paperwork. She has a basic schedule for a typical day.
Well, I come in 9:15 and everybody says hello, and I grab my stuff and I said I'm going to hide, and I do.
Everyone June works with is affected by her enthusiasm. Janice Whiting, a Jamison employee, tells us that June makes a difference every day.
Well, I've worked with June since 1967. June and I go way back in the Jameson healthcare system. So it's really been an honor and a privilege to work with her. And actually, she's been one of my mentors through my service here at Jameson also, because she's been a dedicated employee. She's always been part of the Jameson Health System team, and again sets good values and standards for the rest of the team to follow.
Even though June changes lives, she stays humble with her work. She says she just wants to continue doing her job.
Well, I don't know how I've impacted others' lives. I don't hear. I just try to help whoever I can help, and hope that I have helped them, you know.
For the people she helps with diabetes, June has one piece of advice.
I always tell people, don't do as I do, you know, do as I say.
I'm Kayla Zola reporting for the County Line.
Ahead on the county line, they may not be as big, but these ponies are all, if not more, than their full-size friends.
With good weather around the corner, some local children are looking to get active this weekend at the Y Zone.
And we take a look at the life of a volunteer who leaves an impact on the people that she helps.
Come on, boy. Come on. What do you got there, Yogi? Huh? What have you found? What do you got, little fella? Drop it. Looks like someone's butt. Man, they probably lost it playing with their kids. Hey, leave it. Come on. Come on.
If you travel to Elaine Jones's miniature horse farm in Mercer County, don't make the mistake of calling her horses ponies. She's passionate about her mini horses and even started her own company. Reporter Nikki Pizar travels to Jones's Mini Winnie's farm to cover the story.
Do they get a little competitive? Yes. Although horse breeding isn't always the easiest job, Elaine Jones has held the reins for more than 30 years.
I was always drawn to the little ones. If it was a litter of puppies, I was always picking the runt. Litter of kittens, I had to pick the tiny one. And I heard about miniature horses, and I said, ooh, I got to do that.
Elaine started the Jones Mini Winnie's company in 1980, and now she has more than 50 mini horses on her farm. Miniature horses barely stand taller than the stall door, generally ranging from 34 to 38 inches in height. But they should not be confused with ponies, as the mini horses still exhibit full-grown horse characteristics.
A lot of people say, well, why have a miniature horse? You can't ride them. Well, you can drive them. You can walk into nursing homes. You know, there's a lot of them that use them for therapy. Miniature horses are like, you know, kind of like puppies, dogs. I mean, they really want your friendship, you know. So they are really friendly.
I like mini horses. Jones's Mini Winnies. That's what I like. Whoa!
Just walking through Elaine's house shows she loves the mini horses like her own family.
We've even had birthday parties for Cinder, and nobody wanted to eat the cake after she took her bite, but we had fun anyhow. You know, when you have horses in your blood, you can't get away from it. It's just really hard. You love them, and you just don't know what else to do. If I didn't have the horses, I don't know what else I would do.
I think I've come to realize that mini horses make the best pets. In West Middlesex, I'm Nikki Pizar for the County Line.
The Westminster College Celebrity Series brings the children's show Magic Treehouse the Musical to stage next month. The family-friendly musical is based on the best-selling book series. Tickets for the May 14th show in Orr Auditorium are on sale now. Visit westminster.edu/celebrity for more information.
The Newcastle YMCA will host Healthy Kids Day this Saturday to promote healthy activity and eating for kids. The event runs from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. More information is available at ncymca.org. But Representative Sam Migliano says there are plenty of activities that will take place.
Healthy Kids Day is a national YMCA event, and it's geared towards the kids in the community and its families. This year it's going to be on April 18th, Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., and it's open to the community. And basically, Healthy Kids Day's goal is to have play and fun for all the kids. But also on the side of it is the partnership and collaborations that we have, the different agencies, organizations that are able to support what we do. And we're lucky to have a few lead sponsors that are helping through this on a financial terms of it, but as a community sense of it, we always want to make sure that we're offering to the community what we have, and that's Healthy Kids Day.
Westminster College instructor and relative newcomer Paula Ferguson is becoming a well-recognizable face on campus. Ferguson, a theater instructor, is new to the Westminster community, who brings a fresh perspective and deep insight to campus theater courses and also on stage. Reporter Allison King talks with Ferguson about her new gig on campus.
Westminster College instructor of theater Paula Ferguson helps students build an appreciation for theater and the responsibility it teaches them. With 20 years of experience working in community theaters and high schools, Ferguson has taken on responsibilities including actor, director, and technical director, a part she also plays at the college. Here at Westminster, Paula is giving students the opportunity to work on stage as well as backstage, working with props, costumes, and of course, power tools.
Hey you guys, let me just show this to you all together. This is a nail spinner. Everybody learns at a different level. I don't expect that everyone who comes in here knows how to operate a power tool. I don't expect that you're going to even have the least inkling of what theater is about. It's less about the theater and more about the work at hand, more about the relationships that you build, more about the trust that you build. And it's about watching how people that establish themselves in the shop, either last semester or before I was even here, it's seeing how they establish themselves and direct jobs to be done.
Ferguson says working with the students has been a thrill of her lifetime.
I love the whole idea of getting up every morning, having a job to go to, and knowing what I'm going to do when I get there, and having friends when I get here. That is neat.
At Westminster College, I'm Allison King for the County Line.
The Westminster College Beagley Theater is having an open house this Tuesday. All are invited to attend an open rehearsal of Pride and Prejudice and to poke around the facilities. And Paula Ferguson says it's time the public say hello to all the students who sacrifice their talents to make Theater Westminster a program to be admired and supported. The meet and greet, complete with refreshments, will run from 5 p.m. until 9.
Still to come on the County Line, Carol Burnett's right-hand woman came to Westminster for some comedy and more.
Our On the Road was a real knockout without leaving anything to spare.
We have local and college sports team updates coming up on Titantown Sports.
Can I help you, sir?
I found these over by the stairs.
Okay, thank you.
What are they?
Love handles. Lots of people lose them taking the stairs instead of the escalator.
Remember, if there's ever an emergency, we meet here at the bottom of the driveway.
And I'll get the emergency disaster kit out of the kitchen.
Once we're all together, then we'll decide what to do.
But what about Fido?
What about Fido? The Lawrence County Humane Society reminds you to include your pets in your disaster planning. Make sure that your pets have identification tags that include your phone number. To find out more about how to protect your pets in a disaster, contact the Lawrence County Humane Society.
Vicki Lawrence, the star of Mama's Family, now travels the country with her two-woman show, speaking about her life and career, women's health issues, and being a woman in a man's world.
Lawrence visited Westminster through the Celebrity Series program at the beginning of this month. Reporter Amanda Conway was fortunate enough to interview Lawrence and discuss her struggles and accomplishments.
And welcome to tonight's edition of Your County Close-Up. I'm Amanda Conroy. I'm here tonight with Vicki Lawrence, very well known as the character Thelma Harper from Mama's Family. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Amanda. Amanda looks like a natural redhead, huh?
I am. Okay, my first question is, you got your big break by sending Carol Burnett a picture of yourself. What made you do that?
You know, I used to write fan letters to a lot of people that were on television when I was young. So at the time, it was like one more fan letter, you know. I wrote to everybody that was on television. And mostly did it at my mom's urging, because everybody from the day that I started high school said that I looked like Carol Burnett.
You really do. Really do.
And she said, write her that fan letter. So I did.
And she got in touch with you and said, wow, you really do look like me. What can we do?
Exactly right. Well, it just so happened that she was right at the point where she was putting together the Carol Burnett show.
Okay.
And she thought it would be a novelty to hire somebody that looked like her, as opposed to an actress. Of course, nowadays, I think probably the suits would all come downstairs and say, get rid of that idiot and hire an actress. You know, I don't think what happened to me would happen now.
Yeah.
Television's changed a lot.
It has changed a lot, and it's different now because...
It's very rude, isn't it? A little cough drop.
That's okay. So sitcoms today, there's so many of them. Back when you were doing the Carol Burnett show, there were not two or three, but like very few. How did you handle being a celebrity? Everybody knew you then.
Well, the Carol Burnett show wasn't a sitcom, Amanda. It was an hour. It was a variety show.
A variety show, okay.
So, and I would like to think that we were the last great variety show in the golden age of television. I think I feel lucky enough to have touched the golden age. I mean, the people that I got to work with on that show that you maybe don't even remember, like Rita Hayworth and...
My parents do.
Bing Crosby and...
Oh, I know Bing Crosby.
Yeah, and Dinah Shore and Gloria Swanson. And I know a lot of you are saying, who is Gloria Swanson? You know what? Screw you. But I mean, it was really a classic television show. I think back in the day, there were only 3 big networks. Now, television has become so fragmented, and there are so many choices that I don't personally feel there's enough talent to go around. I mean, you used to see the best of the best on television because there were only 3 choices, really, basically. Right. Even Mama's Family, when it spun off into a series and went into syndication, we were one of the very first sitcoms to go into first-run syndication, which meant we were on cable. We weren't eligible for Emmys back then, even, because we were not on the big 3 networks. So in a lot of ways, I feel that show didn't maybe get the accolades that it might have, and I think deserved, because I think it's one of the all-time great sitcoms. But it was not. There was only one other show that was doing it at the time, and that was Too Close for Comfort with Ted Knight. Don't even know if you remember him, but yeah, he was my role model because he was the only other sitcom that was in first-run syndication at the time.
Very interesting.
And then Buffy and the Vampire Slayer,
I know that one,
which you do remember, was the one that sort of turned the tide, and the Emmys, the Academy, decided that perhaps cable shows should be eligible as well.
Interesting.
So, yeah. And now, of course, cable shows are, in most cases, doing better than the big 3 networks.
Like HBO.
Yeah,
yeah. So, you were talking about Mama's Family. If you had to choose to work again for either Mama's Family or Carol Burnett show, and you could only choose one, which one would you choose?
Oh, gosh. Well, when we did our reunions, the Carol Burnett show reunions, we all looked at each other and said, how the hell did we do this in 1 week? Because it was a lot of work. It was a finely tuned machine and an incredible staff. They put together the best of the best and let them do their job, and it was a very well-oiled machine. A huge undertaking. I was lucky enough to take many of those people with me when I did Mama's Family, and so Mama's Family ran like a little Energizer bunny. I think we could have just kept going and going and going, but unfortunately we only got to do 130 of them.
But they're still on TV.
Fun. Yeah, they are still on TV, and by the last year, had it down to a 4-day work week, so it was pretty dang fun.
Yeah.
We really got paid for playing dress up.
Now, one of my favorite skits, I just watched it again on YouTube. I'd seen it before on the Carol Burnett show where Tim Conway goes into his elephant story, and everybody loses it altogether. How could you do that on a weekly basis? How did you guys hold it together during these hilarious skits?
Well, I held it together only because I was the youngest in the group, and I didn't feel until probably midway through that 11-year run that I had earned the right or the privilege to play with the grown-ups in the sandbox. You know, I just didn't feel it was my privilege. And Mama didn't happen until midway through the run of the Carol Burnett show. I started on that show when I was 18. I started playing Mama when I was 24. So midway through the run. And she was the character that really sort of set me free and made me feel like I had perhaps arrived. So when that skit came around, Carol used to lecture us when Tim was in those sketches because she loved the family sketches so much and she loved those characters so dearly that she didn't want to break the fourth wall. She didn't want to let the audience in there. She wanted that to be a real, like a play. So she would lecture us and say, do not let Tim get to you. Well, on that particular night, Tim, of course, got to her and she was a falling apart mess. I think you saw her handing me the card and looking at me with tears in her eyes, and I'm looking at her like, you are a lunatic. You've totally lost it. You of all people who lectured us not to lose it, is what I'm thinking. So we get through the dress rehearsal, and in between shows on the Burnett show, we did like a 4:15 show. We were done at 5:30. We would break until 6:45, you know, have dinner and makeup and notes and, you know, all that stuff. The director would come by your dressing room. We're moving your mark in the dance number. We're taking this line out in this sketch. He would give you all of your notes. We're rewriting this joke line. On that particular night, I got only one note. My note was, the elephant story will be different and good luck. That was the only note I got from the director. And I looked at my husband, Al, who was the makeup man on the show, and I said, how does he get away with it? And he said, get him back. Well, no, I had never done it. Little Vicky had never done that. So that particular blooper that you love so much was the first time that I ever dared, and I think that's partially why everybody went so crazy, because Vicky had never done that. And when it came out of Mama's mouth, of course, it was funny, and of course, it got everybody. And it's actually, that little blooper has had a life of its own. Dick Clark loved it so much that it was on bloopers for, I don't know how many times. It's been a whole little career on its own. Blooper.
I even know it, and I was showing it to my roommates in my dorm the other night.
Well, it was the first time that I dared.
Up.
It was the first time I dared.
Well, thank
you so much. Not the last, but the first.
Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And good luck with the show tonight.
Thank you. Thanks.
Stay tuned. More County Line is on the way.
This way! Who is that guy? I don't know! Hurry up! He's right behind us! I know! Come on, get up!
4 score and 7 years ago.
Think history is a little scary? Then log on to loc.gov and see how much fun it can be. The Library of Congress at loc.gov.
Traverse. Check us out on the web.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to this week's edition of Titantown Sports. I'm Melissa Maines. We may be a few months away until the start of football season, but the 2009 Titan schedule is out. No new opponents were added from last year's schedule, but they do enter the season with the longest home win streak in the PAC. The September 19th game at St. Vincent and the final home game versus Geneva on November 14th will not count toward league standings, as the two opponents remain provisional members of the NCAA Division III. And the men's and women's track and field team is gearing up and practicing for Saturday when they will host the Westminster Invitational. Earlier this week, the Titan women won 11 events and set 2 school records, while the men's team took home 4 events. 2 freshmen took home gold, Marissa Malcolm in the pole vault and Emily Dolsack in the discus. And congratulations to this week's SAC Athlete of the Week, senior Megan Harding. This past weekend at the Slippery Rock University Invitational, Harding won the 200-meter, setting a school record of 25.39 and placed second in the 100. And also moving on to men's tennis, the Titans are hitting the courts hard this week in hopes of placing at this year's PAC Championship Friday and Saturday in Erie. The Titans were shut out Tuesday by Allegheny and finished their dual match play with a record of 2-11. And moving on to the extra inning portion of the show, we have plenty to talk about tonight. Both the Steelers and the Browns' NFL schedule was released earlier this week. The Steelers' schedule doesn't look as tough as last year, but the Browns and Steelers will play each other twice this season, once on October 18th and the other December 10th. And the Penguins are still in the running toward their quest for the Stanley Cup. They play the Flyers again Friday evening. The Pirates play the Houston Astros this afternoon, losing 6-3, while the Indians took on the New York Yankees, winning big 10-2. And stay tuned, we'll be right back with more County Line.
There's a better way to have fun with history. Visit americaslibrary.gov. Log on, play around, learn something.
The Lawrence County Humane Society believes in the safety of spaying and neutering your animals. Spaying and neutering can have many long-term benefits.
We at the Lawrence County Humane Society believe that all animals should be spayed or neutered. Many reasons why, but the biggest reason is that they will be a happier, healthier pet. Also, it alleviates the overpopulation problem.
Getting your animals spayed and neutered is one huge step in making sure that more animals are healthy and find loving homes.
On the Road takes you to Colonial Lanes this week in Neshannock Township.
The bowling facility has been around for several decades. Reporter Corey Emanuel takes us on an inside look at life in the lanes.
I'm Corey Emanuel at Colonial Lanes in Neshannock Township for this week's episode of On the Road. Colonial Lanes, which is located in Neshannock Township, has provided entertainment for several generations. Alley employee Donald Duncan tells us just how long this establishment has been around.
They built the place in '65. It burned down once, like in '68. It wasn't that old. Then they rebuilt.
Colonial Lanes is a great place to have birthday parties or large outings. Westminster College bowling instructor Scooter Renninger has been bringing his bowling class to Colonial Lanes for over 30 years.
And it's just been a wonderful relationship as far as I'm concerned for the bowling classes to come down here. They're always willing to accommodate us, help us out in any manner they can. And they're just wonderful people, and it's been a great place for us to be able to come to bowl.
Westminster College student Tyler Kelly explains what he likes most about Colonial Lanes.
I like it. It has a nice little old feel to it. At home we have a bowling lane and it's always packed and crowded and you can't find any balls, so I like this place.
So whether you wish to bowl alone or in a league, Colonial Lanes is a perfect 10. I'm Corey Emanuel with this week's installment of On the Road.
That's the news for tonight's edition of the County Line.
Be sure to tune in next week for another On the Road segment and your local favorite sports coverage.
In the meantime, log on to WCN247.com for continuous coverage of your campus and your community. Good night.
Good night, everyone.